I'm Janelle Stelton-Holtmeyer, Associate Editor of Modern Distribution Management. And today I'm talking with David Young and Kevin Rosenthal of A&M Industrial in Rahway, New Jersey. David, the Executive Vice President there, and Kevin is the Executive Director of Business Development and the Emergency Response Team Leader. Hi guys, how are you this morning?
Hi, good morning, Janelle.
Morning, Janelle.
In general, how has business been at A&M?
Business has been pretty strong. Many years ago, when manufacturing was in decline in the United States, we decided to refocus our business on essential services. For that, we mean various types of infrastructure and built around industries that are resident, to our geography. So that's transportation, power generation, utilities, energy, and so forth. And that's been a good formula for us. The rest of the year looks pretty strong, in part because of our strategy and in part because the area that we're operating in the Mid-Atlantic was impacted very severely by Sandy last year. So a lot of our clients were adversely impacted, and we've been working very closely with some key clients, with energy companies, power companies, to rebuild some of their infrastructure. That impacted a very positive fourth quarter for us in 2012, and I think it'll carry through for the next year and probably about halfway into next year as well.
Are there any specific areas where you're seeing strong opportunity for growth outside of the Sandy recovery?
Yes, surprisingly, one of the areas that has been very exciting for us has been in manufacturing. It's been interesting to look at the progression of industries and manufacturing that left the United States 5-10 years ago. Now some of that is starting to come back. We picked up on that trend. We opened up a sales office in eastern Pennsylvania, which has a little stronger of a manufacturing base than New Jersey does. And particularly for higher-end metalworking and machining, those jobs and factories are coming back strong in this area. It's enabled us to get involved in some of our inventory management programs. We do a lot of consultative selling, which has been one of our strategies.
We selected A&M Industrial to be one of MDM's Market Movers this year, based on the great work you guys have been doing with regard to emergency response. So congratulations.
Great, thank you.
How did this focus come to be such an important part of your business?
As we began in the early 90s to move our focus as we began to see changes in the marketplace over to looking at more of these essential type services, obviously we began to focus on the energy market in general and specifically at that time on the power generation and transmission and distribution companies. As we began to delve further into that space, one of the things that we learned is that it's a business that runs around the clock. Most people think of energy as a light switch or a socket, but it's really a dedicated group of men and women who are working 365 days a year around the clock to provide the availability and reliability that people have come to expect. And as a result, we needed to come up with a way that we could support them not only 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, but on nights and weekends and holidays as well. So we began with a very small business and a very small team, which was comprised at that time of myself. And today we have probably a dozen people who are a member of that emergency response team. Great example, as David pointed out, a forced outage certainly was Hurricane Sandy. That was something that nobody expected. We needed to have a number of contingency plans in place in order to support the requirements at that time. We also now have developed a lot of core competencies and skill sets in terms of supporting planned occurrences and shutdowns.
Has having this focus on emergency response for the region changed how A&M approached disaster response planning internally?
Absolutely. We had to develop an entire disaster preparedness and recovery plan of our own so that we would be in a position to respond to the needs of our clients who were in despair. So that became really the genesis of having a lot of redundancies in terms of people, areas of expertise, methods and means of communication and transportation, and as well as developing a network of suppliers who have emergency response programs of their own, helping other manufacturers develop ones whose items are critical to this space, and and also being able to handle the logistics side. Sometimes the biggest challenge isn't just locating the material, it's getting it from point A to point B. That could be just because you can't find a vehicle, or sometimes like during the hurricane, they close the turnpikes. Every disaster is unique unto itself, so we don't just have one kind of canned solution that we force feed all of our valued clients. You have to be able to be proactive and also have the capability to be extremely quick in terms of your reactivity.
So do you have any tips that you can provide to other companies?
We'll share with you a couple of the standard tenets that we subscribe to here at A&M, which we think are pretty essential. One is to make sure that you have a health and safety plan in place that includes evacuation procedures and established meeting places for all your employees so that you can account for them and their safety. Make sure that the essentials, including alternative power supplies, accommodations, whether it's on-site or off-site, food and drinking water, any types of storm-related clothing or equipment, those materials either on-site or that you have access to them. We suggest that you have redundancies and alternate suppliers, one who can bring it to you at the right price and the another one who can bring it to you at the right time. And then the last one is really where we fit into the puzzle. We encourage our clients to talk to the experts. We help companies develop contingency, emergency response, and supply chain resiliency programs.
What keeps you awake at night? In other words, what things do you think managers and executives should be keeping front of mind right now?
Because I'm one of those guys who's already up at night. I guess maybe it's just the nature of our business. But really what it comes down to is this, Janelle. It's the simplest answer, but it's the hardest one to implement and to execute. And that's change management. Understanding what the next bubble is going to be. We already understand that what we do today is going to be inadequate tomorrow. But what we need to do is to be able to look into that crystal ball and then figure out what is going to be relevant and what the next need, not just want, but need of our clients are going to be, and position ourselves to be in the right spot to be able to provide that good or service or solution. There's three things that we think about when we think about change here at A&M Industrial. How do we recognize it? How do we embrace it? And most importantly, to David and I, is how do we profit from it?
Well, that's all the questions I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much, Janelle.
Thank you for the opportunity to participate, and thank you for the wonderful honor you bestowed upon us.